Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this is a podcast about dating's ups and downs and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Julie Hilsen. Did I pronounce your last name right, Julie?
You got it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Julie
Yep.
is an intuitive with a master's in communication sciences. She will bring her gift for relating to the spiritual realm and helping my listeners connect with the divine wisdom and guidance. Julie is in the process of doing a virtual book launch, Life of Love, a joyful guide to self and sensuality. Julie, my God, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Will. I'm fantastic. Just great.
Well, again, I appreciate it. So tell me, Julie, how did you get here? What was Julie's journey early on to get where we are today? And especially you got this book coming out, Life of Love, a joyful guide to self and sensuality. So
It's
how
a
did you get here?
mouthful.
For me, it is.
It's for everybody. I had to get all the words in, right?
No, it sounds
Um,
good to me.
so I mean, I could go on with my story. I'm no different from anyone else. I had a typical childhood, middle child. I always looked for affirmation to make sure I was on the right path. I've always been sensitive, and I've always felt things strongly. And I always thought my biggest weakness was that I was too emotional. My parents were always like, "Why do you cry about stuff?" And it's just like, because I feel things,
Right.
and I never identified with that too much, but I tried to, be the person that I felt everyone else needed me to be, and didn't have too much self-reflection my
Mhm.
first 30 years of life, and found myself in sort of a state where I'm like, well, what do I even want? And what am I even doing here? You start asking yourself these questions, and not a midlife crisis, but just like I felt like I was living for everyone else and my
Mhm.
joy wasn't where I wanted to be. So then I just started listening to master classes and reading self-help books and Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle and Maya Angelou. I was reading poetry. I just immersed myself in anything spiritual, anything of the higher realm, and things just started to make sense. And I just kept following the breadcrumbs. And I believe everyone has the answers in them. It's just a matter of connecting back with your soul, because your soul wants you to be happy and your soul wants you to be authentic. But in our world, we're always trying to please or, look for affirmations, because we don't know what the heck we're doing. We forget everything from any previous lifetime. Like, we just have to, learn everything again. And it's tricky. So, I was feeling like I was a zombie. My husband's great. We have plenty of money. We have a comfortable house. We have, healthy kids. So who am I to say that I'm not happy? I had everything that I wanted, but I knew there was more. And so I just became a curious, questioning. I started saying no. Paradigm shift. Friendships fell apart because I wasn't showing up the same way, because I was showing up for myself. So it's not an easy thing to do soul searching, but I have to live to say it's worth it. Like, I don't stay in any kind of discomfort anymore. I mean, I'm there, but I find my way out so much more quickly, and I've learned to to judge myself on my ability to be where I want to be. And I had to make that choice. So I encourage people to just question, just, are you where you want to be? And who can you bring in to help you? Because I had definitely had people that lifted me up along the way. And so I feel like I have to give back. And I was, stuck at home, COVID, and I wasn't traveling around the country with my boys. They play a lot of tennis. So I was able to write down some ideas. And then the angels were like, Julie, keep going. So the angels guided me to write this book, and it's all the things that I've learned plus their insight. Like, I got quiet and I heard what they wanted me to put in my book. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but I know it's true, because when I read it, I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to remember, and a lot of it was channeled from the angels, which I'm just blessed to have that. And I was, when I read the book, I still get teary-eyed in some parts, because it means so much to me that I was able to do it. And so anything in my book that I recommend people do, I've done it myself, and I've provided words to ask for help. So there's devotions, and there's ways to connect because not everyone knows how to ask. And that's all you have to do is ask. And they're there for you. So I'm excited to get this out because um, I feel like people are going to have big shifts once they start inviting the angels in, and they know that it's not hard. It's just a matter of saying, I'm open. Show me what you got. Like they show me parking spots. Will. I mean, the angels are all over me right now. They're just like, they're like, oh, you need a new car? And there were no cars on the lot. We had to buy a new car because my son started driving and I couldn't drive him everywhere. And I was like, angels, bring me the perfect car that I need at this moment. I started typing in cars. And
Mm,
I tell you what, 4 hours later, I found the car that I needed and it was on the lot and I didn't have to wait for it. It's just because I
wow.
asked. And people are like, how did you get a car? And now the inventory is better and better. But I mean, it was something else, and every time I have something going on and I ask for their help, they just surprise me. They just totally show up for me. But I've opened up that, I don't know if it's a portal or what it is, but I just want to share it because you don't have to be like this guru. You don't have to spend
Yeah.
hours in India meditating to reach your higher source anymore. Like we're getting downloads. You just look at the sun, there's coronal mass ejections.
Mm.
Just Google that for fun. We're getting so much energy from the sun right now, and it makes us more enlightened people. It activates our pituitary gland. Just check it out. I mean, it's just even I saw there was a picture about the sun on Halloween. Did you see this one?
No, I don't think I did. Go
They
ahead.
posted on Halloween there were black spots in the sun that looked like a jack-o'-lantern. And that's because
Wow.
there's coronal mass ejections going on. And they're like talking about, oh, it's cute, it's Halloween, but it's like it's high energy. Like people need support to deal with this energy. And so I'm here to help. I'm an activator.
No, no, and I appreciate. I like the fact that you started saying no to certain things that weren't in your let's say wheelhouse, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
um you want to be, now you are where you want to be, and I think all of us need that. uh Affirmations, I'm a big proponent of affirmations, self-love, which we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, the big to me the biggest thing that you said was asking. Ask. And I'm a big believer in karma.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe what goes around comes around. I also, I never thought about it that way, but getting energy from the sun, because when it's a cloudy day, everybody feels down. Oh, I'm just gonna stay home and take a nap. Oh, it is a perfect day to sleep. But when the sun is out, you just see energy, how people are, and all that. So,
Mm-hmm.
so today's topic is definitely about self-love, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit more, Julie, because it seems when we're in relationships and it doesn't go our way, we tend to fall back, not go out anymore, or not go out for a while. We doubt ourselves. Was it me? Did I cause this? Why doesn't that person love me or like me anymore? When you went through your journey, was that something that you went through too, and or did you know people that had this doubt about love, and or let's call it self-love, because you have to love yourself first before anybody else loves you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. I mean, I went through the whole, high school romance and prom dates and
Mm,
college boyfriends who were just needed help. I used to be I'd find the broken one and try to help them along.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's just part of everyone's path is you have to, they always say kiss a few frogs or, there's all kinds of sayings, but it's more than that. It's like what you have to understand when you're putting yourself in that realm of being in a relationship or in that realm of dating, you are opening yourself up to lots of vulnerabilities and you're exposing yourself. And like you said, there's karma. So you have to understand that this whatever relationship it is, it's going to reflect things in you that
Mm,
you might not want to see. And the person you're dating might do things to you that you won't find acceptable, but there's always some karmic resolution happening. I mean, I
mhm.
totally believe that. And when
Yeah,
you're
me too.
feeling that, it's like you have to go into it with like you're going on an adventure and you don't know what's going to happen, but all you can do is come with a light heart and a sense of humor and just be aware, be present and notice red flags. I mean, that person that broke your heart, you know that they had red flags, like, they didn't call you and they said they're gonna call you. There were red flags, and you saw things where they didn't show up for you the way you felt like you needed.
Mhm.
And so, it's never a huge surprise when someone just breaks up with you. I mean, really. I mean, you when you look
Yeah.
back, you see the signs, and
Is it because, sorry, Julie, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off,
yeah.
because this
Yeah.
is I find this fascinating. Is it because we are afraid to move forward or move on from a relationship that we might be together with someone, whether it's 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, and we're afraid that we might not get that love again, if
Mhm.
quote unquote, because we're not getting it from the person, because like you said, the red flags are there, and either we're
Mhm.
ignoring it or we didn't see it, or let's go back, we just ignored it. Is that the case where we just don't want to take that chance and be by ourselves again?
Right, and it's like, I write about in my book, if you're if you're living on a conditional level of love, you're loving that person because they proposed to you or because they took you on a fancy date or
Mhm.
whatever condition you said, "Oh, this person cares about me." There's there's an expectation. And when you have expectations, you can be let down. Or when you live in lack, you're looking for you're trying to hold on to something so tight that you're living in lack and you're like, I don't think I can find this with anyone else. They're pretty good to me, like the sex is great, but they're a jerk to me or whatever it is, whatever you're holding on to that
Mhm.
string that makes you not say that's enough. There's always some string, whether you love their family or their kids are amazing. Like there's a string. But you have to understand like the way the universe works. The harder you try to stranglehold something, the less it wants to be with you. It's a repulsion. So you have to find that self-confidence and that knowing that you are a divine being and you're made to love and your love frequency is unique. And when you find that other person with that same frequency, it's easy. Like you don't have to hold on to threads.
Mm.
And
Talk
it
more about
might.
that. That's good. We don't have to
Mhm.
hold on to threads. I like that.
Yeah, don't hold on to the threads. Those I
Mhm.
mean, and then when you break up, you have to release the threads that were there. You have to consciously say, I clear my being from all connections that no longer serve me. And you have to consciously do that, or else you can continue to have subconscious bonds to these people, especially if you're intimate. You have to like clear your energy. And some people put a bubble. And I totally agree. There's a bunch of meditations about clearing. There's one where you're in a canoe and you're going down the river and you picture yourself, that person's on the side of the bank of the river and your picture like you're cutting the rope and just things like that. You can get help to clear because it's a real thing. Like you had a connection to that person. They were drawn to you and you were drawn to them. And sometimes it just the karmic relationship has resolved and you need to move on to the next level and you're not meant to go like the long haul with this person, but you still need to cherish that joy that you had that brought you together. Whatever
Even
that spark, even when it goes bad, that's what you hold on to. You hold on to that was a really cool thing that we experienced. Or, you don't have to live it. Don't live in it. Just acknowledge to the universe that you're abundant and that experience was great, but now you're open for the next level. Because if it didn't work out, it wasn't meant to be, and you can't force it because you have to
right.
live in the universe requires us to have flow. And if you find yourself holding on too tight, and that's a sign. That's a sign from the universe that, you're gonna lose grip eventually. And, you might as well do it sooner than later.
Right. Yeah. No, no, I definitely get it. I like what you said. We still have strings attached to that person, and we have to clear our energy, which is a great quote. Um, because I think Julie, and we're talking with Julie Hilsen. Today's topic is about self love, and I think as I go through with some of my friends from when I was younger, and I would see the hurt. Even though for men we're not supposed to show hurt, but when you have a one on one conversation, you see it and you feel
Mhm,
it, because he's maybe not your brother by blood, but he's your brother because you guys grew up together, you have a lot of things in common and all that good stuff. And the same
mhm.
thing with some of my female friends. I would sometimes they brush it off, some they take it to the next relationship, And that's always the key, Julie. How don't we take it to the next relationship? How do we, are there a couple of steps that we should take before we go to the next relationship and not take our last self to this one? Did my question
Definitely.
make any sense at
Yeah,
all?
totally. Yeah, it totally
Okay.
made sense. Um, it's a big deal because if you don't, you're right on, Will. If you don't deal with whatever you're upset about,
Mhm.
because if you're still upset and the breakup wasn't your choice, or you feel bad because you felt like that person was perfect, but they weren't, you had to let them go, and you broke their heart. So whatever
Mhm.
side you're on, right? If you're feeling emotionally about that breakup, then there's something that you need to resolve, and there's something you need to look at, because if you don't, you're right, it's gonna circle around, it's gonna manifest in your next relationship, and you're gonna have that same problem reoccur till you deal with that. That's a soul, I call it a soul mission, like a mission statement.
Right.
Your soul can't say, well, you have abandonment issues, and it's from when you were the second life you were on earth and your mother left you and you starved.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there are things that we don't even, it's not even from this lifetime. It can be karmic from a previous lifetime.
Right.
Um, so it might not even make sense to you in this life, but
Right.
you have to, if you don't deal with it, that karmic lesson, that soul mission statement, then it's going to resurface again. So you can look at, okay, what are reoccurring patterns, and those reoccurring patterns are your breadcrumbs of action steps, and
Mm.
you need to sit with that feeling, and you need to try to figure out, like, get quiet with it and say, hey, was it that I was not clear on how I felt because I didn't want to feel rejected, and if I don't put my whole self out, then I don't have to face the rejection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
if you hold back and you don't show how much you really adore that person because you're scared that they might not accept your adoration, then that's an action step. Like, just be yourself. Show your if you want to tell that person you are so beautiful and I love the way the sun is hitting your face right now, or you're such a graceful runner, or you're the funniest person I've ever met. If you can't just be completely authentic with that
Yeah.
person, then it's something in you, because you're afraid of rejection or you're afraid of abandonment, however it shows up. So you have to, like, say, you have to have a conversation with yourself. Say, Julie, I know that that hurt and that you felt abandoned, but that's just because you need space for the next person. Because if you stay in the bad relationship, you're never going to get to the person you're supposed to be with. And
Right.
the same goes with when you let someone go because it's not meant to be, but you broke their heart. Like, you just have to know that you did the right thing because you're living your authentic self, and there's no mistakes. There are no mistakes. There's no reason to doubt anything that happened, because everything, it sounds cliche,
Right.
happens for a reason, but you can really figure it out when you look back.
And
And
it's all about reflecting, taking our time, maybe journaling, maybe talking to our best friend or something. But the key thing though, Julie, I got is just being reflective of what happened and and to avoid it. But I like what you said also is say something, be authentic.
Mhm,
Because if we're keeping stuff to ourselves, that other person's not going to know what's bothering us, what makes us happy, or whatever. But especially
mhm,
if what's bothering us. So for you, Julie, when you went through your journey, and you discovered that you can help people out by just basically being yourself and
mhm.
sharing your love, what you went through, do still people that you talk to or work with, are they still resistant to the to that change of self-love? They still holding on to the past, even though it could be a year later, a year and a half
Mhm.
later. Are they still holding on to certain things that maybe bother them from that last relationship?
Right, right. And that's where unconditional love comes in, and that's where
Mm,
compassion for yourself comes first. You Guilt is a useless emotion, and you just have to cut yourself. If something didn't work out, just give yourself compassion. Say, you did the best. You had no ill intention. Like,
right.
you didn't mean to make them feel bad. You came at it with as long as you're coming with your heart in a light giving state, if things don't work out, it's just because it wasn't meant to be. And it's easy to say that, but it hurts when you're going through it.
No, but it's true.
But
You're right. Yeah.
we do. If you live in guilt, that just wears you down, and then you have to forgive yourself. If you sometimes we just mess up, and you have to forgive yourself and be like, well, that was a tough one, but I'm not going to make that mistake again. And then you conquered that. But if you live in fear of making that mistake again, you're not empowered. So you have to find a way to release the guilt and forgive yourself. And then you can forgive other people, because anyone who is walking around with resentment, um, wanting to get revenge, those kind of energies, and I'm going to talk about energy again, it's going to make people crazy who don't feed into the energy, but
Yeah.
there's lower vibrations, and those are fear, resentment, jealousy, competition. Like, this isn't a competition. This is about you finding your joy. So
Right.
it's about what you want. So in my book, I have the whole first chapter is about finding your joy, what's authentic to you, because there's a lot of people that are just looking for like the handbag or the hairdo or the perfect friends. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, that's what commercialism says we want. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like, what do you want? If
Yeah.
you love that fancy handbag, that's great. But is it because you wanted it and you like it, or is it because everyone else has one? And so, being authentic, getting to know your joy, that's huge. And then, if you hit a bump, just give yourself compassion, because you're just trying to learn, and just understand that you're just going through this journey. And, if you make a mistake, if things don't work out, then you get another shot. Because, Will, if you woke up this morning and took a new breath, you're meant to be here. And
Oh, listen, I always say when I wake up in the morning, I always say thank you. That to me, that's 99% of the battle. I woke
mhm.
up, everything else could be gravy, or it depends how I take it. So, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Oh, no, not at all.
yeah,
No, that's that breath. You were given this day to shine, and you might not shine for the first 2 hours, but then you have choice, and you can. I say every moment's a chance to live the life of your dreams. So, just because you loved one way the last relationship doesn't mean you have to love that way in the next one. You get a redo.
right. No, I love that. I love the redo. First of all, Julie, I want to thank you so much for being People on Dating. And let's talk more about your book. How did the concept come about? How long did it take you to write it? And do we have another 10 books in us?
Well, the concept came about because I wanted to help people find more joy, and I wanted
Right,
the world to, I just want people to love each other, and that's my mission is to spiritually show love. And um, a lot of that sensuality comes in because you're open and you're present in the I am moment, and that's a whole big statement. Like,
right.
if you can learn to say, this is where I am and this is what I cherish about this moment right now, then magic just comes to you. And I wanted to share, like, I am a very sensitive person. I've always been, like I said. And so my vulnerability and my sensitivity and my falling on my face over and over again and questioning and crying and being in a ball in my closet, or the showers where you're just bawling, like, I
Yeah.
wanted all that to be for something. And I was given the sensitivity as a gift, and not everybody feels things the way I do. But if I can, share some of my journey, then I'd be honored to help anybody find more joy, and just connect with their spirituality. It doesn't have to be religious, to call on the higher powers, whether it's source, goddess, God, Jesus, angels, whatever is a higher power. It's here for us, and it's right here. So I wanted to give the beginner the words to ask. And so that's how it started in the book. I guess I started writing it, and I wrote it in less than a year, and it's been editing, and the publication of it's been a little slow in my opinion. But
Right, right, right.
um the
When do you
digital
expect it to
copy
come out? Yeah.
well, the digital copy's on Amazon right now. You can get
Okay.
the Kindle.
And what's the name of the book? Yeah, tell us
Life
again.
of Love: A Joyful Guide to Self and Sensuality.
Nice.
So, yeah, I talk about relationships, and how to, take care of your relationships, and I have decision trees, and basically, it's a really fun self-inquiry book, and it's interactive. So I recommend the written copy once that's available, and it might be
Yeah.
available tomorrow because they said it's close. I recommend that because you can write in it, and it's 188 pages.
Okay.
Do I have more books in me? I'll have to see how this one goes. I'm just trying to get through this.
Of course, you want to get this one out. Yes.
I
Anything?
love, yeah, I love podcasting. I love writing on my blog. So that's my
Yeah.
creative outlet right now, and cooking, and, just, I adore my family. I always want to be a mom. So, um,
Well,
just,
bless you for that.
yeah.
Definitely. Anything else you would like to promote? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, my website is youneedapeptalk.com. So
That's a great
YOU,
name. That's a
and
great
it's
name.
all written out,
Yeah.
YOUNEEDAPEPTALK.com.
All right.
So I had that way before the book. I was sharing recipes, and,
Yeah.
I was always worried about ingredients. When my kids were little, I was like, we got to watch out because they put this stuff in our food that's making us sick. And I was on that train a long time ago.
Mhm.
So I started my blog to help people feel better about their bodies and make better choices for diet. So that did pop into my book too. I have some recipes and some advice on ways to keep your diet a little more clean, because when your vessel feels good, you're able to love better. And
Yeah.
I talk about the different foods and how it affects your sexuality too.
Oh, okay. That'll definitely. I'll put that on the show notes. Well, anyway, Julie, I appreciate you being on People on Dating. My God, I learned a lot. And I'll definitely want to have you back on in the future. Maybe when your book comes out. Hey, if it comes out tomorrow, we'll have you back on sooner than
Thank
later.
you. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing,
Yes,
it
of
just
course,
popped
of
into my
course.
head. I don't mean
Yes.
to take you on.
No.
But one thing to really remember when you're in a relationship, and this is, I've been married 22 years now,
Mhm.
is that even when that person lets you down, or when you're not happy with what they did, that's not what they did, isn't who they are as a soul. So if you can get to the point in a relationship, in any relationship with anybody, if you can say, I didn't appreciate what you did, but I love you so much. I want to learn about why it happened.
Mm. Okay. Wow, that's tough to say, but you know what? Maybe we could get more, I guess, a clearing of our mind and
Mhm.
soul by asking that type of question.
Mhm.
And you did say, "Hey, I do love you. I love you to death." But hey, this is
And
what. Yeah,
this is my boundary, because
yeah,
I don't accept to be, if you say you're going to be home at 7 and you come home at 9:30, I have a boundary about that, because I was worried you were in a ditch. It's not that
right.
I'm being possessive or I'm jealous. I'm just like, genuinely, it took me to a place where I didn't want to be, and I don't want to, I know that you don't want to make me upset. And
Right.
so, just to be like, take your ego out of a conflict and just say, hey, you didn't I love you, and you didn't show up for me. I'm still going to love you, because so many times people have conditioned love. So they think
Right.
if they let you down, you don't love them anymore, that you lost, like you took a coin out of the love bucket, because,
Yeah.
because, so just to be authentic with, I know you didn't mean it, but this is how I felt about it.
Mm.
And I want us to learn from this. I want us to grow, and a person that deserves you will want to work through that with you. So I don't want to present to your audience that everything's always peaches and cream and you just love
Right.
yourself and everything works out. I mean,
Right. Right.
I've been married 22 years. I know better. Like, you have to, and sometimes you say something and you're like, well, this could go one way or the other. And
Right.
how joyful when it goes the way you wanted it to go. But if it doesn't, then you have to say, well, should we reevaluate where we are? Because it's a constant, everyone's growing all the time. So what worked yesterday might not work today.
No,
So,
exactly. We're constantly moving forward and evolving, and yeah, everything is. It seems like it's trial and error when it comes to relationships because,
mhm.
like I said, we got to set boundaries, and if someone crosses them, then what?
And
But
then do you accept that, or do you say, I love you, but I have to let you go because it doesn't work for me, and it's okay. It's not your
yeah,
fault. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's a sticky thing, but as long as you know your values, and I encourage your audience, just know your values, know what brings you joy, that will sync up with someone else that needs that, and you guys will be so amazing together, but don't settle. definitely don't settle.
No, I think that's one of the best things to say. Don't settle. Well, anyway, again, Julie, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I look forward to our next conversation, Will.
Definitely. Me too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Well, everyone, that was Julie Hilsen, and you can find her at youneedapeptalk.com. That's youneedapeptalk.com. Julie, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. Much appreciated. You can find me on peopleondating.com. That's peopleondating.com. Check out our past shows and check out our blog. Also, when you get a chance, please go to our YouTube channel, People on Dating. Please subscribe, like, share, whatever you can. Please, please. Also, you can find me on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Anyway, guys, on behalf of People on Dating, I'm Will Morales. Until next time, thanks, everybody. Have a great day. And remember, it's just a conversation, no judgment. Bye.